Tomorrow is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. A Mobile woman who was in D.C. when one of the planes flew into the Pentagon, Sally Massey, was there to help her daughter find an apartment. She quickly found herself thrown into the middle of the chaos. NBC 15's Ken McGrath joins us now. Ken, Sally went from being a helpful mom to helping people deal with their grief.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Sally and her daughter, they were staying at the Sheraton in Pentagon City, preparing for a day of apartment hunting, when all of a sudden their world was turned upside down.
But when I walked out the door, I looked back to the right because that's where I'd been looking at the Pentagon, and it was smoke. Just a whole lot of smoke coming up out of that area.
Sally and her daughter, they were enjoying coffee and donuts when she started hearing fire trucks. That's when she knew something wasn't right.
Everybody was glued to the TV because of what had just happened at the Pentagon and then what had happened at the Twin Towers.
Back at her hotel, Sally says the lobby had turned into a military operation. Armed guards had set up a security perimeter. Sally says the hotel, it became a staging area for supplies and food for first responders who were sifting through the rubble at the Pentagon. The hotel was also a place where concerned family members went to learn the fate of their loved ones.
So I went down the next day, maybe, that was on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, because they had all these people and just said, I'm stuck here. I can't get out. I'll be glad to volunteer to do anything you need.
Sally couldn't leave D.C. Flights were grounded and there were no rental cars because of the high demand.
Several times people would get really, really upset and just get hysterical and have to leave, the building or leave the room. And it was my job to walk them out and just sort of counsel them out in the lobby and just talk to a lot of people that were there. And as they left, just distraught and wanted to talk to somebody. And so that was one of my jobs.
Sally did her best to console family members, to sit with them through their grief, to listen as they tried to make sense of what happened. There was one encounter that Sally remembers well.
There was one lady that just got up in the middle of him describing what they were doing and what they were finding in all the rubble, and just ran out screaming, just horrified. And I went out after her, tried to stop and talk to her, and she was so distraught over it till she just couldn't be, there wasn't anything, I realized there was nothing I could say. There was just nothing I could say. It was so horrific. I could just tell her that that we were praying for her, that we were there to let her talk about it, but I couldn't go home with her and I couldn't make things right.
Sally tells me after the attacks that day, they were all afraid because they didn't know if there were going to be any more terrorist attacks. Now, because of Sally's willingness to help comfort family members, she did receive a recognition plaque from the Pentagon, signed by former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. Sally, she ended up staying in D.C. for nearly 2 weeks until she was able to get a rental car and drive back home to Mobile. I'm Ken McGrath reporting live, NBC 15 News. Back to you.